I think the main thing for me is making shots at a consistent percentage higher than when I was at last year. I think that's my main thing. I improved a lot on other aspects of my game, which kept me on the court last year, even though I wasn't shooting as best as I think I can. So I think that's the biggest thing this year.
Yeah, we were talking a couple months ago. You told me you were dealing with an injury, but you're able to get over that. How have you been able to get back and get to 100%?
Yeah, so I dealt with a knee surgery right after season ended. It was kind of like that was a lingering factor a lot last season, just in terms of getting warmed up for games and feeling through games, especially towards the end. So completely happy that I got that figured out and taken care of. Just been able to play a lot more laterally and vertically as well, without pain. And I think it's just helped a lot with my shot, number one, with balance, and also just on the defensive side of things, being able to stay in front of the ball better and things like that. So
Now your fourth year in the program, one of the longer tenured guys. How has that changed your role on this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed every year, my role. This year, a little bit more of a leader, being one of the senior guys. Or, well, I guess I'm a junior, but, one of the older guys on the team. I think being here for 4 years, where I don't think there's a ton of guys that have been here for that long, just being able to show some of the younger guys around and kind of understand how we do things around here, the culture. I enjoy being in this type of role, and I hope I can set and inspire some other guys, when they get older, to kind of be similar.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious, kind of talk about kind of year two with Kyle Smith. You spent half your time with Jared Haas, half your time with Kyle Smith. What are some similarities both have? How are they different? Just kind of talk about what it's been like having two separate head coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both coaches have their own ways. I think with Coach Smith, obviously I was more on the playing side. Coach Haas, I was kind of more on the development side. And under both coaches, I learned a great amount. I think for me, as I've gotten older and matured, I've learned that there's blessings to both. Being able to sit, my freshman year played a good amount for a freshman, I'd say, but not a ton. And then sophomore year redshirting, you learn a lot from sitting on the bench and being able to understand and learn from some of those older guys that are playing. I think that really has benefited me as I've kind of gone to this Kyle Smith era of being able to translate what I've learned from a lot of those guys to being able to take it on the court. And so, both sides I think are different in terms of coaching wise. They just got differences, but I think I've learned from both coaches a lot. I respect both and I appreciate both for sure.
Yeah, so Maxime was obviously a big part of the team last year. How are you guys as a group approaching the season, filling his role on and off the court?
Yeah, so we got a lot more depth, I think, than we have had in the past, and a lot of that came in the front court. We got some new guys, AJ, Christers, Oscar, just to complement Aiden and Chiz as well. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Oh, Talus as well, to complement Talus as well. So all those guys combined, we have a lot of depth there, and all those guys have improved the guys that have stayed, and the new guys that have come in have just added a lot. So, I think we're going to be able to rotate a lot of guys in that position to help fill that spot. We're not just going to rely on one or two, and being able to have that many people, I think it's just a different type of reliance that, we lost Maxime, but we have a lot of guys being able to come in and fill that spot.
Yeah, what on the court are you hoping to, change when you have a bigger role, whether it's having, a higher usage rate or driving more or shooting more? What do you think?
I think for me, we're running a little bit different offense this year. Last year was a lot more predicated on Max. Mm-hmm. This year is kind of more team-oriented, so I think the ball will naturally just move around a little bit more. And when the ball is in my hands, I look to make plays for others and then, also for myself as well. And I think naturally that'll happen to, boost maybe some of my stats. And I think for me, I'm big on letting things happen naturally. I don't really look to average a certain amount of points or a certain amount of rebounds. I just kind of want to do the best I can in every single aspect of the game. And I think naturally, most of my stats will improve. So.
You got some off-season work in with Jeremy Lin. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. He had a camp to kind of give back to the Asian communities. It was the top Asian athletes in college basketball, only 11 of us. And 7 girls, 4 guys, had us for a weekend-long kind of camp. And I would say, basketball was a big part of it, but the main thing for him was to kind of give us his story and, embrace the idea of being Asian in this world of sports and how he kind of overcame all the adversity he dealt with, the stereotypes and all that. So being able to spend a weekend on and off the court, especially, at dinners, in the car and whatnot, just hearing his story was super, super huge for all of us. And at the end of the day, also, it was we're sitting next to freaking Jeremy Lin. That's crazy. When we were all young watching Lin Sanity's on the couch, and now he's here inviting us to a camp of his. So it truly meant a lot to all of us. I can tell you that from the conversations that we had without any staff or media around. And, I really do appreciate him for doing that.
One of the strengths you've had is obviously you've been known as being a really good shooter, but your rebounding is something that stood out as well. What's been kind of the key to your growth and development on the rebounding side?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I take rebounding seriously, as you can see from this little scratch right here today. I've been going in, so I'm not afraid to go in there with the bigger guys. I'm trying to help our team, like I said, in any way possible, and one of those is being a guard rebounder. And I think that's super advantageous to have that on the perimeter. Because as someone who kind of is in that middle position of being a guard but also can play, with some of those bigger guys, I can grab that rebound and take it up and kind of start the fast break by myself, and have some of those guards run out and kind of take the load off them a little bit. So for me, that's been a huge aspect of my game, because that is something that I can control, and that's something that I can do to keep me on the court, even if something like I can't control, such as my shot going in. So I take that super, super seriously, and for me, that's always been an energy booster and a game booster for me, just grabbing a board. So I take that pretty seriously.
Just as a quick follow-up on that, I just noticed that we were all kind of commenting, a lot of big bodies in there, AJ Rohosi
Right.
and Talis Torrey. Just talk about the physicality that you guys could bring this year.
Absolutely. I mean, the physicality is, I think, it's definitely taking a step in the right direction from last year. I think we had a lot of skilled guys last year. I think this year we got some guys with some serious motors that are willing to kind of, throw an elbow here and there to send a message. And honestly, as a competitor, I love it. It's been great for our program, great for our culture. It's kind of made other guys tougher as well. So, I'm a big fan of it.
What's your approach on being like a leader in the locker room this season? Obviously now as upperclassman.
Yeah, I think being in the position when I was younger, kind of being a younger guy, learning from guys that were older and how they led, I learned that the best way to lead is by putting yourself in the shoes of the younger guys and leading by actions. And one of the great guys that I think the best leader that I've had while I've been at the program, Spencer Jones. I remember walking in the gym, he was doing a workout, busting his butt like no one else in the gym watching him. And so, over the years of my freshman and sophomore years, I learned a lot about how to be a very relaxed, calm guy that everyone can love hanging out with off the court and even on the court, and a teammate that's willing to have empathy for others, but at the same time, when needed, will send a message. And I think that's kind of what I aspire to be. And I'm still learning for sure. But I think, someone like Spencer Jones was someone that I looked up to when I was younger and looking to, kind of play a similar role as.
Are there any of your teammates you think that are really primed to make a big jump this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all the guys that returned that played some big minutes last year, I think will make a jump. Benny and Chiz. Don's coming off an injury, but I know we can use him when he comes back as well. But, I think some of the freshmen will also make an impact, and I do think that both transfers will also make an impact. So I'm saying everyone, but I think the guys that did play some major minutes, and even some of those guys that may not have seen a ton of time on the court last year, I think a couple of them will surprise you guys coming into this year. So.
I just know speed of the game is something that takes a while for guys to get adjusted to, particularly
Absolutely.
guys redshirting. Just talk about what's been the key to your ability to get adjusted to that side of things.
Yeah, so I think for me, I think that was kind of also a factor that played into my knee injury a little bit. I wasn't used to playing so much consistently, dealing with the ability to rebound, the ability to kind of defend, and then go back on offense and shoot and stuff. And so it kind of wore my knee down a little bit last year when I was playing, because I wasn't used to it after that year of redshirting. Now my body physically and mentally, I feel like, has taken a step. I feel really good, really healthy. I'm in probably the best condition that I've been in a while. And all those factors combined, I think, is due to the fact that, I've had a year under my belt playing under, Coach Smith and this program. So I think it's a big factor. I think a year of experience does take you to a whole new level, and I'm expecting, my results to show that. So.
Beautiful.
All right, cool.